It's Tuesday, August 9th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with a look at the latest news around southwestern Connecticut, including a daycare owner arrested following the death of a New Canaan baby, a car into a building this morning in Milford, and in Reading, charges for a local woman after a dog is killed at her alleged illegal kennel. That and a lot more. Frank Granito will join us with a look at the forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update, and later on, Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, the owner of a Stamford daycare center was charged with first-degree manslaughter and first-degree risk of injury to a minor on Monday in the case where a two-month-old New Canaan baby, Bella Redondo, died shortly after being rushed to Stamford Hospital from the daycare. According to Patch.com, the Stamford Police Department issued a release concerning the arrest of Nydia Carrillo Maldonado, 35 years old, on those manslaughter charges. On Tuesday, July 12th, the Stamford police were alerted to the untimely death of a two-month-old baby girl. The Special Investigations Juvenile Division arrived to investigate the death of Bella Redondo, and officers believed that Bella may have passed away under suspicious circumstances, and an investigation was undertaken. An autopsy was performed by the state's medical examiner's office, and they labeled the death a homicide due to blunt force trauma to the head. Stamford investigators began an investigation which concentrated on the proprietor of Little Bears Daycare. After numerous interviews and consultations with medical professionals, investigators coordinated with the state's attorney Richard Colangelo in submitting an arrest warrant for Carrillo Maldonado. A $200,000 bond was set, and she has a court date scheduled on August 22nd. Police say this is still an ongoing investigation. And in other news today, the Milford Mirror reports that there were no serious injuries this morning when an elderly driver crashed through the front wall of a downtown law office and landed inside the building. Firefighters, police, and city building officials were at the scene Tuesday morning as firefighters worked to remove the Honda from the building. Fire Department spokesman Greg Carmen said an elderly woman crashed through the front wall of Kapusta and Otzel and Averimo law offices on Broad Street, a building fronted by large glass windows, at about 8 a.m. Police are investigating the cause. One person was inside the office at the time. She took cover in a secure room and was not injured. The driver was treated on the scene for minor injuries and taken to Yale New Haven Hospital for follow-up. And in Stratford, a woman died early Monday morning following a crash near Paradise Green. Stratford police said the accident at Main Street and Wilcoxon Avenue was reported at about 12:05 in the morning. Police confirmed that the female at the wheel of the wreck died. Police have offered no specific information about the woman, and the accident is still under investigation, but you can get more details at stratfordstar.com. And in an update on a story we brought you yesterday from Easton, a teenage female was struck by a single vehicle while she was jogging at about 10:35 in the morning yesterday on Route 136. The victim was conscious and alert, according to Police Chief Tim Shaw. The extent of any injuries are not yet known. The road was closed there for about an hour while officers investigated. The teen was taken to St. Vincent's Medical Center by ambulance. Easton firefighters and emergency medical service workers were on the scene. And in other news today, Ridgefield police are looking for help identifying two alleged lottery thieves. Authorities have clear surveillance photos of them. One man has two tattoos on either forearm. The other is wearing an Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers jersey. Ridgefield Police Captain Jeff Kreitz said the two men are persons of interest in an ongoing larceny investigation. They allegedly stole scratch-off lottery tickets from a Danbury Road gas station on Friday, August 5th. The amount stolen is unknown. From the photos, the gas station in question appears to be the Ridgefield Valero, located at 603 Danbury Road at the intersection of Route 35 and Route 7. Ridgefield police are asking anyone with information to call them at 203-438-6531. And the Valley Indy reports a 64-year-old Shelton man was arrested for allegedly driving drunk the wrong way on Route 8. Walter Sapila was charged at about 1 in the morning, August 9th, after state police received reports of a vehicle traveling the wrong way on Route 8 North. Sapila made it all the way to Bridgeport, going the wrong way, according to police. Police pursued Cipiella's vehicle, a Honda CR-V, at a slow rate of speed on the highway and attempted to use stop sticks to flatten his tires. Cipiella avoided those stop sticks and almost hit a police car, then increased his speed to about 60 miles per hour. State police deployed the sticks again near exit 1, this time successfully, but Cipiella kept driving, making his way onto Interstate 95, again heading the wrong way. A trooper then managed to successfully stop the CR-V as it approached him head-on. Cipiella failed field sobriety tests and was arrested. And Connecticut State Police and Bridgeport detectives arrested a convicted felon they say is involved in a recent Bridgeport shooting. State police say 26-year-old Raul Zayas was spotted Monday near his apartment. As detectives attempted to approach the vehicle Zayas was driving, he attempted to flee and intentionally struck a police vehicle that was positioned to prevent him from escaping. There were no injuries, however, and he eventually surrendered to detectives and was taken into custody without further incident. Zayas was found to be in possession of 2.8 grams of crack cocaine and $541. Once Zayas was in custody, task force detectives, with the assistance of detectives from Connecticut State Police, executed a search and seizure warrant at his Capitol Avenue apartment. Detectives found and seized a loaded .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun from his bedroom. And a Reading resident has been arrested for operating an illegal kennel after a dog was killed. The Reading Pilot reports that on Monday, Catherine Sturg, 49 years old, of Reading Road, turned herself in on a warrant for cruelty to animals, operating a kennel without a license, failure to inoculate an animal, and failure to acquire a dog license. The warrant was issued for Sturg's arrest by state animal control officers, according to Police Chief Doug Fuchs, and they determined that the Reading resident had been operating an illegal kennel service out of her home. Reading police initially opened that investigation into Sturg's kennel after a dog that had been boarded at the Reading Road home was killed by Sturg's own dog. The case was handed over to state authorities to complete the investigation. Fuchs said the owner appeared to be operating some kind of doggy daycare without a license, and a dog that was in her care was killed by her dog. There's more on that story at thereadingpilot.com. The Connecticut Secretary of State, Denise Merrill, and the State Elections Enforcement Commission launched a primary day hotline to respond to any voter problems at the polls today. The public can access that hotline by dialing 866-SEEC-INFO or emailing elections@ct.gov. The hotline and email address will be monitored throughout the day by the SEEC and the Secretary of State's office. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. today in a number of towns and cities for registered Republicans and Democrats. Voters can go to myvote.ct.gov to confirm that they are registered to vote and to locate their polling places. As we discussed yesterday, voters will head to the polls in several area towns. Republicans in Ridgefield, Reading, Bethel, and Newtown will go to the polls to choose a candidate for Judge of Probate for the Northern Fairfield County Probate District. Daniel O'Grady, former Bethel Judge of Probate, and Patrick Walsh, a Ridgefield attorney for the past 23 years, are seeking their party's nomination. The winner of that primary will face Democrat Sharon Dornfeld of Ridgefield in the November general election. And Stratford voters are also going to the polls to choose a Democratic state Senate candidate. Democrats in the 23rd Senatorial District will choose between incumbent Senator Edward Gomes and party nominee Dennis Bradley. And in Shelton, incumbent Republican State Representative Jason Perillo, who represents the 113th District, will be challenged by Planning and Zoning Chair Ruth Parkins. But we are going to switch gears now and throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast today. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Another beautiful day outside. We'll have plenty of sunshine coming through till about the early evening, and then we'll see some clouds move in later on. An expected high of 86 today, and we'll see a low in the mid to high 60s tonight, as it should be partly cloudy through the evening and moving in towards Wednesday. Wednesday will be a bit more humid as temperatures will rise up into the 90s. It'll be partly cloudy throughout the day, and there are chances for occasional showers and the possibility of some thunderstorms through the night and into Thursday morning. Thursday looks like it'll be the hottest day of the week with humidity way up around 80%. Temperatures will reach the high 80s, but it's going to feel a lot more like 100 degrees outside. We could see some scattered thunderstorms in the day and possibly till the afternoon. Hopefully, though, by the late evening, the heat should break a little bit and it'll be a little more comfortable as we move towards the weekend.
All right, Frank, not too bad. Mix of some good and bad in there.
It's going to be another great day out here today, but humidity is going to start to go up the next few days, and it'll be hot as it was a couple weeks ago when we were stuck in that heat wave.
All right. Well, we're going to step out for a break. We'll throw it back to Frank later for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Donald Lang will also have a look back on this day in history, and we have some more local news coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Czaplinski
And Josh Fisher
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Tuesday, August 9th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network, and it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Lang. Don.
Well, Kate, on this day, an entire nation got orphaned, sort of. But first we go to 1173. Construction begins on the bell tower at the Cathedral of Pisa, which we now know as the Leaning Tower. The structure was already known to be leaning 5 years after construction began, as workers were starting on the second floor. Luckily, the nearly constant warfare between the Italian city-states halted construction for a century, allowing the land to settle underneath the tower. The tower would not be completed until 1372, 199 years after it was begun. In 1945, on this day, Nagasaki devastated when an atomic bomb nicknamed Fat Man is dropped by the U.S. B-29 called Boxcar. 35,000 people are killed outright, including about 28,000 war workers, 2,000 Korean forced laborers, and about 150 soldiers. To 1969 we go. Followers of Charles Manson murder 5 people, including pregnant actress Sharon Tate, wife of noted child rapist Roman Polanski, and coffee heiress Abigail Folger. Manson, an aspiring musician, had tried to get a recording contract from record producer Terry Melcher, who had previously lived in the house with his then-girlfriend, actress Candice Bergen. When Melcher turned him down, Manson ordered the attack, not knowing the house had since been rented to Polanski. Finally, now we go to 1965, the former part of Malaysia, for this.
On the 9th of August 1965, the separation became official.
There have been differences between the central government and the leaders of the Singapore state government. And these differences take so many forms and are of so many kinds that it has not been possible to resolve them. And so we decided that we must part company.
Now, you probably know that Singapore is a tiny independent nation, but you probably didn't know that it didn't become that way by choice. It was on this date in 1965 that Singapore was expelled from Malaysia over its protesting of the preferential treatment of the federal government gave to ethnic Malays over the predominantly Chinese Singaporeans. To date, this remains the only time a nation unwillingly gained its independence. That is your look back in history for today, August 9th, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today. Since select trains to and from New Canaan on Fridays and all trains on Saturdays and Sundays through August 21st are suspended by Metro North, bus service is being offered by the railroad and Uber car ride service is offering discounted rides. Service is being changed to accommodate grade crossing renewal work there. Buses will operate 15 to 20 minutes earlier than scheduled trains. You can listen for announcements and check local or express bus service to your destination while boarding and get that bus info at mta.info. But Uber Connecticut will also be providing $10 off between New Canaan and the Stamford train station on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays through August 21st. The $10 off will automatically apply to any trip that is between New Canaan and the Stamford train station. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And let's start down in Florida at the Cal Ripken World Series, where the Norwalk 10-year-old All-Stars posted another huge win in the preliminary rounds of the tournament. The Boys of Summer defeated Bryant, Arkansas 13-3 to improve their record to 2-1 in the tournament play. With the win, the team has qualified for the championship bracket, which will start on Wednesday afternoon. Norwalk will conclude the preliminary games today when they play host to Palm Beach Gardens to determine the 2 and 3 seeds for the American Division in the playoffs. The number 1 seed is Poughkeepsie, New York. And Kate, yesterday on Nutmeg Sports, we had the pleasure of announcing the first month of our fall broadcast schedule for the HAN network. We are excited to say that we'll be covering 15 games this fall over at 10 different schools for 5 different sports over just the first 22 days of the season. The HAN's first stop will be on September 9th at Tiger Hollow Stadium at Richfield High School when Trumbull takes on Richfield in boys football. For more information on the fall broadcast schedule, you can watch the Monday, August 8th episode of Nutmeg Sports in the on-demand section at HAN.network. And finally, Wilton native Jake Keeley, a rising senior at Fairfield Prep, competed in the 2016 YMCA Long Course National Championships and was crowned the national champion in the 200-meter backstroke last week. The championships were held in Indianapolis, and Keeley also finished in the top 4 of 2 of the other events that he competed in. Jake's time of 2 minutes and 4 seconds was more than 2 seconds faster than his closest competitor, and it was only about a second off of the 2016 Olympic qualifying trials runs. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's send it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Really excited about that schedule, too. But we're going to get back to a little more news today, including that state police are reminding drivers to be careful and aware on the road after a stopped cruiser was hit by a driver on Route 8. Monday evening at about 5:20, a state police cruiser sustained heavy rear-end damage after being struck on Route 8 southbound near exit 34. The trooper was stopped with emergency lights flashing, conducting a motor vehicle stop. The trooper and operator of the vehicle that struck the cruiser both sustained minor injury and were transported to the hospital for evaluation. The trooper was treated and released. And in Trumbull, public works crews working in connection with the Connecticut Department of Transportation have closed access to Broadway Road from Main Street. This is part of an overall redevelopment plan currently underway on the Long Hill Green, according to First Selectman Tim Herbst. Motorists traveling northbound should use caution and slow down as they approach the Long Hill Green to adjust to the new traffic patterns. Whitney Avenue can no longer be accessed from Main Street to Broadway Road, and officials say please be safe and use caution to adjust to those new patterns. And a Milford native has been named commander of the U.S. Navy attack submarine, the USS Hartford. The USS Hartford's new commanding officer is Matthew Fanning of Milford. A change of command ceremony aboard the USS Hartford in its home port at Naval Base Submarine in New London was held recently. And during that change of command ceremony, Fanning relieved former Hartford commanding officer Thomas Ate. Fanning graduated from the Naval Academy in 1999 and has served in the Navy for 17 years. But we are going to step out for a break now, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories that we're following today on your coffee break after this.
Mosquitoes, ticks, gone. Guaranteed. That's what Mosquito Squad guarantees as America's most trusted mosquito and tick control company. Locally owned and operated, over 90,000 homes have been protected by Mosquito Squad using their dual protection method for season-long protection, which includes barrier spray service for eliminating mosquitoes and adult ticks, as well as supplemental programs to increase tick control. They use only USDA organic options, which are safe and non-toxic. Contact them today at www.squadctny.com or 203-893-4309. Mosquito Squad. No bugs, no bites, no kidding.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
Today's coffee break is brought to you by the Lee Lund Studio of Dance in Milford, a family dance studio that has been teaching thousands of people in New Haven and Fairfield County for 3 decades. Fall classes start September 6th, and you can take your pick from hip-hop, intro to dance, modern jazz, ballet, tap, and much more. Named a top dance studio in Milford, students at Lee Lund are given exciting opportunities to perform with professional dance companies. Located at 13 Factory Lane in Milford, call 203-877-7737 for details. We're back on this Tuesday edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network, recapping some of the top stories that we're following today, including that the owner of a Stanford daycare center was charged with first-degree manslaughter and first-degree risk of injury to a minor August 8th in the case where a 2-month-old New Canaan baby, Bella Redondo, died shortly after being rushed to Stanford Hospital from the daycare. According to Patch.com, the Stanford Police Department arrested Nydia Carrillo Maldonado, 35 years old, yesterday on those charges. On Tuesday, July 12th, the Stanford police were alerted to the untimely death of the 2-month-old baby. An autopsy was performed by the state's medical examiner's office, and they labeled the death a homicide due to blunt force trauma to the head. Stanford investigators began an investigation which concentrated on the proprietor of Little Bear's Daycare. After numerous interviews and consultations with medical professionals, investigators coordinated with State's Attorney Richard Colangelo in submitting an arrest warrant for Carrillo Maldonado. She has a court date coming up of August 22nd. Police say the investigation is still ongoing. And the Milford Mirror reports that there were no serious injuries this morning when an elderly driver crashed through the front wall of a downtown law office and landed inside the building. Firefighters, police, and city building officials were at the scene Tuesday morning as firefighters worked to remove the Honda from the building. Fire Department spokesman Greg Carmen said an elderly woman crashed through the front wall of the law offices on Broad Street, a building fronted by large glass windows, at about 8 a.m. Police are investigating the cause. One person was inside the office at the time, but she took cover in a secure room and was not injured. The driver was treated on the scene for minor injuries and taken to Yale New Haven Hospital for follow-up. And in Stratford, a woman died early Monday morning following a crash near Paradise Green. Stratford police said the accident at Main Street and Wilcoxon Avenue was reported at about 12:05 in the morning. Police confirmed that the female at the wheel of the wreck died. Police offered no specific information about the woman, and that investigation is still ongoing, but you can get updates at StraffordStar.com. And a Reading resident has been arrested for operating an illegal kennel after a dog was killed. The Reading Pilot reports that on Monday, Catherine Sturg, 49 years old of Reading Road, turned herself in on a warrant for cruelty to animals, operating a kennel without a license, failure to inoculate an animal, and failure to acquire a dog license. The warrant was issued for Sturg's arrest by state animal control officers. Police Chief Douglas Fuchs said they determined the Reading resident had been operating that illegal kennel service out of her home. Reading police initially opened that investigation into Sturg's kennel after a dog that had been boarded at the Reading Road home was killed by Sturg's own dog. The case was then handed over to state authorities to complete that investigation. You can get updates at thereadingpilot.com. And Ridgefield police are looking for help identifying 2 alleged lottery thieves. Authorities have clear surveillance photos of them. As you can see, one man has 2 tattoos on either forearm. The other is wearing an Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers jersey. Ridgefield Police Captain Jeff Kreitz said the 2 men are persons of interest in an ongoing larceny investigation. They allegedly stole scratch-off lottery tickets from a Danbury Road gas station on Friday, August 5th. The amount stolen is unknown. From the photos, according to the Ridgefield Press, the gas station in question appears to be the Ridgefield Valero, located at 603 Danbury Road. Ridgefield police are asking anyone who may have information to contact them at 203-438-6531. But let's turn it back over to Frank Granito for one final look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Sunny out today with temperatures in the mid to high 80s. Partly cloudy later on as we get ready for Wednesday. Looks to be a lot hotter tomorrow. Chances of showers and thunderstorms all day long and moving through the night into Thursday morning. Thursday most likely going to be the hottest day of the week. Humidity up around 80%. Temperature should be in the low 90s. It'll feel almost like 102 degrees outside. There are a couple chances of scattered thunderstorms on Thursday afternoon. That's going to do it for one more weather update today.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but it's still a busy day. At 12:30, The Drive with Denise is live in studio. Be sure to check that out from some motivational, inspirational chat. And at 2 o'clock, of course, Nutmeg Sports with Frank and Don. But we are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. We will see you tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.